Welcome back to Railroads Online and the playthrough on episode 7. And we have run the string line up from where we were building on the live stream, and we have missed by a couple of inches of making it over the top of the flat area here up at the iron mine. So I broke my own rule where I've always said you start at the top and work to the bottom. That way you can keep your constant grade the whole way. So I'm going to have to remove what we put in there on the live stream and rebuild back down from the top. But while we're up here at the top, so we know where we need to start from, we'll put in all the yard up here and the unloading and loading areas at the iron mine. And I've already come through and cleared out the trees up here so that we've got a nice area to build on. And they don't give you much room up here. Like if you want to try and put in some kind of a loop back, there just isn't enough room. So what I'm going to put in here is a very simple single lane through the loading area. We won't use very deep groundworks here because we want to have it nice and low. So we'll put a single lane in through the loading and the unloading area, and then a passing lane beside it. Ooh, did I miss? No, I got it. And we'll start off by aligning to this platform. Yes, that's why we start back a little bit further. Helps if you select the right rail. And we want to get the tip of that just touching the legs. And a new spline. And the tip of that just touching the legs. And then another new spline. And the tip of that one just touching the legs. Okay, the last one's being painful. There we go, I'm happy with that. Let's compare the second last one to the last one. That should be about good. I'll put a cross track on there. Just build straight off the end of here with the normal rail and put our cross track on the end so we can basically move the alignment to the end of the loading area. There we go, now we've got a link. And we need to remove this little ramp that we put here, otherwise we will run into problems with it if we accidentally take a sample of height from it. And we'll remove those bits of rail. And then we'll build along in front of here. Now we don't want to go full length, because if we go to a full length piece, we won't be able to fit in pieces of decking rail so that we know where we're lined up at. So we'll put in, and we know we were wrong now, we will put in segments that are 9 ties long, not 7 ties long. If you watch my introductory video to explain how we got it wrong, or how I had it wrong, and I've had it wrong for months, not paying any particular attention to the counts from the side and standing over the top of it like this and not being able to see what the count actually was. And we also need a short piece in here, so we'll line up a piece to mark where the 2 chutes are. So we want to have one there, and we're going to line up to this chute here, which is about a mark here, and then we'll put another 9 tie segment here on the end and end it off, and we'll put a cross track on the end for us to build off of to the next piece. And we need to come along and remove the sections where we want to put in the marking track, which is just a bit of decking rail, so it marks where we know where we need to stop at. And this will tell us how good we got lined up, whether or not we've missed. And I'm happy with that's lined up. So we'll come over to here and the delete key and remove the rail out of the middle and right click to put it in. And same thing again over this section. From the starter here to the spot in the middle, I'll lock off. Come over to here so we can select and hold down the delete key. Swipe it across the rail. Right click it in, and there we go. There's our unloading zones and our loading zone done. Now, the other thing we're going to do here is this will be a drive through. So you'll come in from this side and exit back out this side if you want to go all the way around. But we will have a passing lane here in the middle. So we'll put our passing lane in, and like I've shown, we better put a bit of groundwork down there first. Single segment over to there, and a single one full length down to the other end. It's not a very big passing lane, but it should be able to fit about 10 rail cars in it. And now something I've shown before with the cross tracks, they have a direction. The direction of this one points that direction. The direction of this one points that direction. So if you want to build from it, the only way you can build from it is that direction. You need to put down another one this way, and now this one faces this direction. We can build from this one. And we come forward to 9 ties. All the way down to the end. And this last piece will probably need to get removed, and just to check it to make sure that it did stay parallel, we'll just throw that on there and we can see that that line has stayed parallel. We can remove that one off of there. Now we also want to have some way to be able to turn around a locomotive up here as well. Well, whether we forward in or backward in. So on this passing lane, I'm going to put in a switch, and on this first little segment right there, and it went underneath our feet. That one went in. So we'll get rid of that one. Now we need to get rid of the rail that's in the middle of it, and we click and hold from off the rail and start moving across the switch. And it will remove the rail that's in the switch and put this little section back in again. We'll need some groundwork out here where we're going to build off of here. Now this is going to be a curve, so we'll put our fan of groundworks down out around here. Somewhere over this direction, as long as it's out of the way. Because we don't want it, the turntable we're going to put in here interfering with the rail going past, and I don't think we put enough groundworks in just looking at this. I think we need to put some more in. We didn't come out far enough with the pieces. So we'll just extend them out just a little bit. So we've got bit more room to play on. Oh, missed with that one. And I missed again. It will not place unless your arrow is actually touching the ground and it's off in the trees. Okay, let's see if we can make a corner in here now, because we need a corner and a straight. And our first is always either somewhere between 3 and 5 degrees to start off into the corner, and then we can go a little bit steeper into the corner, and we'll use 18. 18 should be enough. And it should be far enough, and now we'll ease back out again to 5. And then straight. And we'll just continue building straight for a couple more segments. I probably need one more on there. And now, like we did down at the freight depot, and I remember from down there that it didn't want to let us put it down, so we will delete one segment out. So let's just put the turntable down in front of us instead of under our feet, and start deleting from out here and move it across the and for some reason it decided it's going to start turning. Okay, now there's a weird anomaly I've never seen before. So we're just going to delete it for a second. We'll try putting it in again and see if it does it again. I've actually never seen it do that once you put it straight in and it starts turning. Now we'll build back towards it from this way, and we'll overlap one segment so that we can put straight rail in. And you've got to be standing on it for it to be able to, because as you move the mouse pointer, it's down right over the top, and it'll give you the spot where it wants to be at the right distance. It's just right there, and that gap there now should be the same as that gap there. Actually, it's just a smidgen closer, but that's fine. So we now have a spot where we can turn our locomotive around. Now we need to get an entry and an exit to the yard and connect in the passing lane as well. So we need some more groundworks out this side. And we'll just do a nice big fan around this corner here until we get lined up to that little ledge that runs down on the eastern bank. Should give us plenty of room. Now we also want to have enough here to get a second line. Built in along here, because what we'll do is we'll do the trick with the transferring of points, control points, using the cross tracks around the curve to get the inside lane. And now I'm going to have a good little estimate around here, and we'll do our first piece at 5. And then we'll go for 15, and I'm very sure 15 will get us lined up to right where we want to be. And now we want to back out by 5 to 5. And then we want a straight on the end. 9 ties long, and that's us. Just line to smooth in. Now switch down there, any length of switch doesn't matter. So we need to turn the switch around. And that should give us a nice line in to there. Now we want the switch stand on the right and the turnout on the right. And we want to put a cross track on there. That should get us fairly well lined up then into the second line. Now we need to do the problem of with the cross tracks of getting them to go back in under your feet like that at every single joint. And this one it's meant to go under my feet. So remove it and try again. That's the joint. And the next one. Move that one, it's in the wrong spot. And it's going to do it every single time to me today. Normally you can get it to drop the piece down correct every single time, and it just doesn't want to do it. That's every single one. That's 100% hit rate. And that one went on the wrong side. And that one just didn't even go in at all. Remove them all and try again. It's usually about 45 degrees and it'll snap back under your feet. There we go, that got it. And we need, I think it's one more, no, maybe two more. That one went in right. This one here as well. And that should be enough control points around the corner. Cross track on each one of these pieces. This will keep an even distance then around the entire curve of the inside lane. And I think we actually need one more in the middle of there. And of course it places in the wrong spot. That one went right. We'll just have to see where these control points are. I know they're going to be too wide, so this one here is not needed. Okay, now these connect to every front of, so we start from here and connect to the front, connect to the front, connect to the front, and the front again, and the front again, and there, and there, and actually I don't think that one there should be there as well. It shouldn't be there because we need to start heading in, which will be about there, and of course it won't let us put it in unless we use the alt lock. And should be on -5. We actually need to come back the other direction. Should have us lined in then to the the second lane. And we should be able to remove them all. We'll have to have a little double check over this, because if that's too tight, there's enough of a straight track there after the bend. Oh, I'm happy with that. Now doing the same thing on the other end is not quite as easy. We don't have very much room at this end. And what I normally do here is I actually cheat a little bit. So we'll take that off the end of there, and we'll actually take this piece off the end of here. And we'll come back to there, and we'll actually start building this curve from here, because the first 5 will be close enough to this platform, because yes, we're very limited for room on where we can put this corner in up against the edge of this cliff face. And we need to put, you know, a similar as what we put on that end on this end here. So we've got to switch to that passing lane and the turnaround lane. And we also need to be able to fit a decent sized corner in there. The inside corner can't be too tight, which means we may actually even have to move that switch further down that line. We'll just have to see where the rails fall at, because these switches are huge. The new procedural switches will be good. We'll be able to put them around curves, and you can also set the length you want of them yourself, so we don't have to rely on these big 38 metre long switches. Which is this last segment on here, we can get rid of that. Okay, let's see what sort of a corner we can get on here. Actually, no, I want to change that. Let's get rid of that. We'll go back to, we'll just build straight over the top of here, connect to there, go straight to the end of here like we normally would, and now we'll turn. It'll be 5 for the first segment, and this is going to have to be pretty tight, so all the way up to 25, and cross our fingers that we get around with the 25. Oh, we're getting close. I don't think we're going to make it. No, that's going to hit. So 25 is not tight enough. We need to go to 26. So take it all the way back to... Oh, of course, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We'll just build over the top of this piece. We know where we're at. And we need to go to... I'll lock on, and we need to be 5, and then 26. And this should move us about a foot to the right, which will be enough to clear this hill. And there we go, and now we can start straightening out again. So we'll come back to 5 should be plenty, and then back to a 0. And let's turn around and see if we've got any wobbles. And that goes nice and straight into that corner. And that means the inside lane's going to be about 29 degrees, I think. Which isn't ideal, but we'll be able to get around it. And we'll put a little straight there. We actually need to turn again here. And I don't have enough groundwork. So we'll just end the spline there. Because we need to be pointed over at that direction. Perhaps we should have come around the corner one more. Alright, let's remove those last couple. And remove that one. And we can come back to this here, which was a 26, and we'll put another two 26s on the end. And now we'll come out to a 5. And just enough room to put a straight on here. And now we're pointing somewhat in the right direction. So we can get up there and put a small curve at between here and the top of the hill. So yes, I'm happy with that. Now some groundwork out toward down there. Need to get a switch in here, and it doesn't matter which one because we just need it for a length. Cross track on the end. Turn the switch around. Now we want to turn to the left with the stand on the right. And we need a bit of groundwork on the inside here. Because the inside lane will need some groundwork on it. Okay, same trick again with the cross tracks. Try to get them to lay underneath my feet. Perhaps. Well, you don't need to see me do this a second time. So I will be... And we're back again. And I've got all the corner pieces in. All we need to do now is connect them up, and I'm actually going to start on top of the switch this time. Hopefully I can get this and get it to the right count, and we may need to come back and revise that corner afterwards because that was such a long length off the end of that switch track. Just need to connect up to all the end ones and not that one. And actually it should have not been on that one as either. So we'll end the spline there. So I've got two nice parallel tracks, and how did we come into this switch? No, that's nice as well. So let's clean up the mess. Need to get rid of that. Cross tracks. They gave us our control point widths between the two rails. And yes, that should have started coming in from this one. So I'll need to come back to... And now we'll be able to also see what radius we got on this corner, because we will need to start not one back, but two back. And snap to there, put the alt lock on, and now we can see what angle we got on this corner. And that looks like it is 32, or maybe even 33. And that's right on the limit of where I'd actually build. So we'll snap to the end of this one. and put the alt lock on, and now we're going to aim well at the turnout and try and get it to line up. And it reckons 5. And where we need to line up to now. Straight's not quite going to make it. So we want to be 1 perhaps. And finish up on top of the switch track. And I'm not real happy with that, so I'm going to have another little work at it. Let's work it backwards. Put a cross track here on the end. Want to be able to see our angles. Not happy with that positioning at all. Let's come back and we'll try again from the top of the switch track and we'll go straight. So yes, with our alt lock on, we'll go 3 to the right, which lines it up. And then we'll snap to every joint. So the old build it forwards, build it backwards trick. And the last segment, and finish on top. Now before we replace the track, we will delete the doubles out from underneath. There is still a little wobble there I'm not overly happy with. It's not going to oh, pardon me. It's not going to derail the train, but that wasn't what we wanted. I aimed at the wrong piece, and it was that cross track. Now we've got the right one. It's not going to derail the train, but it is a little wobble that I normally don't like, having little wobbles like that. And it may take a little bit of finagling to get it to go where I want it to go, because by rights we need to come in from here, and that's going to make this corner even tighter. And the only way around that is to move this switch further back down the track. We might just leave it for now. If it annoys me later, I'll come back and fix it later. And the last little thing to do here, so we need to delete this because we need to start putting in a transition, and the level piece only needs to go to the end of here. There's a place to lock it in. And now we want some variable, and we want to go down by quarter. Where's that going to bring us out at? Not quite enough, so we'll go down another quarter. Where's that going to bring us out? We're going to still go down another quarter. Still not quite there, so down again. Still not there, so down again. Now that's got to take us pretty close then to where we need to line up over the top of there because we want to only just touch that. And that's the top where we need to build down from to correct this grade. So we have missed it by a couple of inches from where we really wanted to be. And the only way to fix that is to move this distance here all the way down that track to the bottom. So that was our error of building upwards when we should have been building downwards. And last little piece of track to go in here is this bit that goes over the transition. And it's a very long transition I put in this time. Usually you put short transitions, but we've got lots of room to work with here. I think we'll go 9. 9 should get around the corner. There we go. We want to back it out now to the direction. Now we want to be 5. And then back to 0. Now I think we need to have a 1 in there, because we need to come over just a little bit further, maybe even just one more. Now back to 0. And there's our spot ready to start building down the hill. Well, the only jobs that's left up on top of the iron mine now is to delete all the temporary groundworks and put in some gravel over all the places, and it's finished. We want rails, we need to get rid of that. And I'm quite happy with how that turned out. Let's check the other end and we'll clean off any cross tracks that shouldn't be here. And just the one on the other end. I'm quite happy with how all that turned out. And well, that's it for this episode. I'll put the groundworks in off camera, and I'll see you in the next episode back up here at the iron mine with it all finished in, and we'll start building back down the hill at that 1.5% and see how far we went wrong as we build down. Bye bye for now. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe.